So we're a few weeks into the eruption here on the Big Island in Pahoa town. That's where I'm at now. And I thought I'd update some of my friends and family and whoever else it's helpful. I've had a couple questions. I'm thinking of a friend who went to his church and told them about our situation and raised some money to help us. And he said, "Yeah, I told them all about your situation, and they want to help, but they still don't understand why anyone would live on an active volcano." And it's not a bad question. After all, we know it's a volcano. There's a town called Volcano about 45 minutes from here. We know that there's lava flowing out of it. It's not even a dormant volcano like lots of volcanoes around the world. Why are we living on the slopes of a volcano which is actively erupting and lava's coming down the hill? And there's a few reasons why many of us are staying. And even some people who have taken a little break away are planning to come back here, and we're not planning to abandon our homes. And one of the first reasons is that it's actually a really small area of this island, and it's even a small area of our district, Puna. If you look at the whole Hawaiian island chain, you're talking about a little teeny blip. Even on this island, there's I don't remember how many volcanoes there are, mountains, maybe 9, something like that. This is only one of them. This is Kilauea, and on Kilauea there's one rift called the East Rift, which we live right on and right nearby, and that's the only place where lava is coming out. It's not at this time. It's not going to come out anywhere else. If lava was going to come out somewhere else, there would be precursors to it. There'd be earthquakes and signs leading up to that, and so it's a really small location. Now, for many years, we've had lava in our district flowing from Pu'uo'o vent down the hill and into the ocean. That seems to be done now. That's been 35 years. That's no longer going to flow as far as we can tell. So most likely this is going to find its own path to the water, and whether that's going through neighborhoods or farms or whatever, it will most likely somewhat stick to a path for a while. So we're going to have to learn to work with that and essentially live around that path for those of us who decide to stay. And maybe some changes do have to be made, but it's small. The other thing is, unlike a tornado, unlike flooding, unlike many other disasters, this is a relatively speaking slow moving disaster. It's been going on for weeks. It's tiring people out here because of that. It's not over with. But in terms of your life, the chances of you dying in this type of disaster you're actually a lot better off in terms of saving your life. Now, in terms of saving your property, it's the other way around. There's basically nothing you can do. If the lava is coming towards your house, towards your neighborhood, you cannot stop it. You can't bomb it. You can build a berm and hope, but it can go over berms. It can go over hills. It acts in its own way. It's not like water that flows down the channels that exist. It makes its own channels, and so it's more like if you were pouring wax. You could pour wax and build something up, and it could go over. So, but in terms of your life, it's not as dangerous to life as many disasters are. It's a very sad disaster, and there's a lot of people who are suffering. Every person who lives here knows multiple people who've lost their homes, businesses, who are relocated, who used to be waking up in the morning, going to work, and now they had to go to the welfare office and get their EBT cards. And so it is a sad event that's going on, and so I don't mean to minimize the suffering at all. The other thing is one of the more bigger issues that we're going to have to think through as a community is the release of gas. So the lava releases sulfur dioxide, which is SO2, and hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and others, but those are the two that most people talk about, other gases that are really bad for you. And they kill vegetation, animals, and they'll kill people or hurt you if you're in the path, if you're not in the right place. So right now, because the lava is coming out in a big river, it really isn't very pleasant being downwind from that. And even if you're a ways away, it can affect your respiratory system, and if you were really close or if it was really concentrated, you could get sick or even die. But at this time, my take on it, that's not really a big risk of you dying unless you're right next to the vent and you just stay there. But it's not a good idea to stay in that cloud for too long. So that's a big issue now. I think it's probably going to get a little better over time as the lava goes into lava tubes, because it freezes over, it hardens on top, the lava starts going through the tubes, and then it'll probably be localized, like the steam will be coming out in the ocean and then maybe at the top of wherever it ends up. So 2 spots where there'll be that gas. But we've been living on this island with VOG, that's what we call it, VOG instead of smog, volcanic smog. We've been living with this for a long time. And to be honest, we get it better. We have better air than most of the rest of the island, and even better than lots of the other islands, because the trade winds, which blow from the east, typically 90% of the time or so, blow the air the other direction. And so we have actually the cleanest air a lot of times. The last thing is, really, for many of us here, this is home. So we're just not going to abandon our home because of a disaster which uh, is ongoing, and we don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know how much help we're going to have from individuals, governments, or nonprofits, and we're just not going to give up our home. Many people have been here for generations, or they're the original Hawaiian people. Others, like myself, I've been here for 12 years or so, and yeah, I'd move away to save my life, but I'm not leaving my home just because things are a little bit uncomfortable. My family lives here. I'm raising my children here. I've come to find this place as home. I see people on the streets, and we know each other, and we care about this place, and we want to stay. And so these are some of the reasons that you don't see people just flocking away from the island. We've decided that we had a dream, or we grew up here. We don't want to enter into the rat race that we see so many places on the mainland. We don't want to sit in traffic day in and day out, starting to get over here, but not quite. We don't want to just sit at an office job and go home and barely make it home, and try to make a little bit more money and things like that. Many of us like the lifestyle here, and that comes along with living on the side of an active volcano. And finally, um, we think you might be crazy too to be living that other lifestyle. We live in the beautiful jungle, the ohia forests, or by the ocean, and we get some of the best air in the world. We have wonderful people around us. We have a beautiful town, and we hope that you will come to understand that. And we don't want to go away because this is our home. So I hope that helps you understand. There's definitely a lot of sadness here. It's a big disaster. At the same time, thank God no one has died yet. No one has died. There have been a few injuries. Most of that was due to either accidents or a little bit of carelessness. But we have a big disaster on our hands. As of today, over 80 structures have been covered in lava. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And so keep praying for us. If you want to learn how to support us a little more, you can ask me, or I might make a video about that too. Hope this helps. God bless you. This is Matt Purvis from Pahoa.